A grainy surveillance feed flickers in the dead of night, capturing something that shouldn't exist. A shadow moves where no one should be. A whisper cuts through the static when the house is empty. What if the cameras we trust to keep us safe are recording things we were never meant to see? Tonight, we're diving into 8 unexplained horror encounters caught on surveillance, each one more chilling than the last. Stay until the end, because what you'll see might make you question everything. It was 2:17 a.m. in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Ohio, 2019. The air was thick with that heavy stillness you only feel when the world is asleep. A single security camera, mounted above the garage of the Thompson family's home, blinked its red light into the darkness. The footage starts innocently enough. An empty driveway, the faint glow of a street lamp, and the rustle of leaves in the wind. But then, something changes. A figure appears at the edge of the frame, not walking, not stepping into view, but simply there, as if it materialized from the shadows. The figure is tall, unnaturally so, with limbs that seem to bend in ways that defy human anatomy. Its face, if it even has one, is obscured, like the camera itself refuses to focus on it. The Thompsons, asleep inside, had no idea. The figure doesn't approach the house. It doesn't touch the car or the mailbox. It just stands there, motionless, for exactly 13 minutes. The timestamp ticks by, and you can feel the weight of its presence, like it's staring not at the house, but through the lens directly at you. Then, at 2:30 a.m., it moves. Not a step, not a stride, but a slow, deliberate lean forward, as if testing the air. The camera glitches, the screen fracturing into static for 3 seconds. When it clears, the figure is gone. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is what the camera caught next. The garage door, which had been locked, slowly creaking open on its own. The Thompsons found the footage the next morning after noticing the open garage. They called the police, but there were no footprints, no signs of tampering, nothing. The only clue was a single faint whisper caught on the audio, barely audible over the hum of the camera. "I see you." Experts analyzed the tape, but no one could explain the figure or the voice. Some say it was a prank, a trick of the light. Others believe it was something older, something that doesn't belong in our world. The Thompsons moved out a month later. The house is still for sale. In a bustling office building in Seattle, 2021, an elevator security camera captured something that still haunts the night shift workers. The building, a sleek 12-story tower, was mostly empty after 6 p.m., except for a few janitors and late-night coders. The elevator in question, number 3, was notorious for being finicky, as the maintenance crew put it, sometimes stopping between floors or refusing to open. But on October 12th, it did something no one could explain. The footage starts at 11:43 p.m. A young woman, later identified as Sarah, a 28-year-old graphic designer, steps into the elevator on the ground floor. She presses the button for the 10th floor, her usual stop. The doors close, and the elevator begins its ascent. But then, it doesn't stop. The numbers on the panel climb past 10, past 12, to a floor that doesn't exist, 13. Sarah's face, caught on the grainy camera, shifts from confusion to panic. She jabs at the buttons, but the elevator keeps moving, the hum growing louder, almost like a growl. For 6 agonizing minutes, the elevator doesn't stop. The camera shows Sarah backing into a corner, her hands trembling as she clutches her phone, which has no signal. Then, the lights flicker, and the camera captures something impossible. A second figure in the elevator, standing just behind her. It's humanoid, but wrong its arms too long, its head tilted at an unnatural angle, like a puppet with broken strings. Sarah doesn't seem to see it, but you can feel her fear, like the air itself is pressing down on her. At 11:49 p.m., the elevator finally stops. The doors open to a floor that's completely dark. No lights, no walls, just an endless void. The figure behind Sarah leans closer, its head now inches from hers. She screams, and the camera cuts to static. When the feed returns, the elevator is empty. Back on the ground floor, doors wide open. Sarah was never seen again. The building manager reviewed the footage and called it a technical glitch. But the janitors who worked that night swear they heard faint laughter echoing from the elevator shaft for weeks afterward. A Reddit thread about the incident quotes an anonymous maintenance worker. That elevator hasn't been right since. Sometimes, at night, it moves on its own. No one knows what Sarah saw in that void, but the footage remains, a silent witness to something we can't comprehend. In a small town in Texas, 2023, a playground security camera captured what locals now call the ghost swing. The playground, tucked behind an elementary school, was a happy place by day kids laughing, parents chatting. But at night, it was deserted, locked behind a chain-link fence. The camera, installed after vandalism complaints, was meant to deter troublemakers. Instead, it recorded something far worse. The footage begins at 3:03 a.m. The playground is still, bathed in the eerie glow of a single sodium light. The swings hang motionless, the slide casting long shadows across the sand. Then one swing starts to move, not a gentle sway, like the wind might cause, but a violent rhythmic motion, as if someone heavy is sitting in it, pumping their legs with force. The chains creak, the sound sharp and piercing through the camera's cheap microphone. But there's no one there. For 10 minutes, the swing moves faster and higher, until it's practically horizontal. The other swings remain still, untouched. Then the camera picks up something else, faint, childlike laughter, distorted, like it's coming from underwater. The temperature gauge on the camera, visible in the corner of the frame, drops from 68 degrees Fahrenheit to 42 degrees Fahrenheit in seconds. The swing stops abruptly, as if someone jumped off, but the sand below shows no footprints, no disturbance. The school principal, shaken, showed the footage to a local priest who blessed the playground the next day. But the story doesn't end there. A week later, the camera caught something even more unsettling. A small, shadowy figure standing at the edge of the playground, motionless, staring at the swing. It stayed there for an hour before vanishing into thin air. The school removed the swing set, but parents still report their kids refusing to play there, saying they feel watched. In a rural gas station in Nevada, 2020, a lone security camera watched over the pumps under the harsh glare of fluorescent lights. It was 1:09 a.m., and the desert stretched out dark and endless beyond the station's flickering sign. The footage shows the lot empty, save for a single car parked at the edge, its driver inside the convenience store. Then, something appears at the corner of the frame, a hand, pale and claw-like, pressing against the asphalt. It doesn't move like a human hand. It drags, as if pulling something heavy behind it. Slowly, a shape emerges, crawling low to the ground, its movements jerky, like a broken film reel. The camera's audio picks up a low, guttural rasp, like air escaping a punctured tire. The figure pauses, its head snapping toward the camera with unnatural speed. For 47 seconds, it stays there, motionless, its eyes, if they're eyes, glinting in the light. Then it scuttles backward into the darkness, leaving no trace. The driver returned, unaware, and drove off. Locals still avoid that station after dark. In a Chicago apartment building, 2022, a hallway camera caught something that made tenants demand answers. At 4:22 a.m., the corridor on the 7th floor was silent, lit only by dim, flickering bulbs. The footage shows the hallway empty until a door at the far end opens on its own. No one steps out, but the camera's audio captures a faint, rhythmic tapping, like fingernails on wood. Then, a shadow stretches across the floor, long and distorted, moving toward the camera. It's not attached to any figure, just a shape that glides, growing larger, until it fills the frame. The audio spikes with a sudden, sharp scream. Not human, but like metal scraping bone. The screen goes black for 2 seconds. When it returns, the hallway is empty, the door closed. Tenants reported hearing the tapping for nights afterward, but no one could find its source. The landlord called it faulty wiring. No one believes him. In a small Oregon bookstore, 2024, a security camera recorded an event that left the owner shaken. It was 12:03 a.m. The store long closed, its shelves casting jagged shadows under a single overhead light. The footage shows the front door, locked tight, when a book suddenly falls from a shelf in the background. Then another, then a third, each one hitting the floor with a heavy thud. The camera's audio picks up a low hum, like a voice trying to form words, but failing. A shape moves in the corner, a silhouette, vague and shifting, like smoke. It drifts toward the camera, and the hum grows louder, almost forming a word. Leave. The lights flicker, and the camera cuts out. When it restarts, the books are back on the shelves, neatly arranged. The owner found the footage the next day and hasn't opened the store since. In a Florida warehouse, 2021, a night vision camera caught something workers still whisper about. At 3:45 a.m., the vast storage space was dark, filled with crates and the hum of refrigeration units. The footage shows rows of boxes, undisturbed, until a crate in the center shifts slightly, as if nudged. Then, a figure appears tall, cloaked in shadow, with no clear edges. It doesn't walk. It glides, circling the crate. The audio captures a faint, repetitive chant, too soft to make out. The figure stops, raising what might be a hand, and the crate lifts off the ground, hovering for 10 seconds before crashing down. The figure vanishes. Workers found the crate's contents sealed packages of food rotted overnight, despite being freshly delivered. The manager burned sage in the warehouse, but the night shift still feels a heavy presence watching them. In a quiet Minnesota cemetery, 2023, a motion-activated camera recorded something that defies explanation. At 2:47 a.m., the graveyard was silent, tombstones glowing faintly under moonlight. The footage shows a path between graves, empty until the figure appears, kneeling beside a headstone. It's small, childlike, but its movements are too precise, too deliberate. It traces the stone's engraving with a finger, and the camera's audio picks up a soft, sing-song voice, unintelligible but mournful. The figure turns toward the camera, its face a blur, like a smudge on reality. The air grows hazy, and the camera's temperature reading plummets. Then, the figure stands and walks backward, never turning, until it fades into the dark. The next day, the headstone was found cracked in half, with no explanation. Groundskeepers now refuse to patrol at night. These 8 encounters, caught on cameras meant to protect us, leave us with more questions than answers. Are they glimpses of something beyond our understanding? Warnings from a world we can't see? Or just tricks of the mind, caught in the flicker of a lens? One thing is certain. These tapes have changed the lives of those who've seen them. They remind us that sometimes the things we trust to keep us safe can show us the very horrors we fear most. Have you ever caught something strange on camera? Felt a chill run down your spine when you were alone? Share your story in the comments below. We're dying to hear it. And if this video made your heart race, hit that subscribe button. But only if you're brave enough to face what's next. Until then, keep your eyes open. You never know what's watching you back.